The Guardian emerges. Admiral Voss Terek stood rigid on the command deck of the hegemony flagship Dreadful Light, his four-fingered hands clasped tightly behind his back. The view screen before him displayed the small blue-green world of Meridian, the farthest human colony in the Orion Spur. "Prepare the subjugation fleet," he ordered, mandibles clicking with irritation. "These humans have defied tribute quotas for the last time." Meridian was nothing special, a modest settlement of barely 3 million souls, tucked away on the edge of hegemony space. But humans had a troubling tendency toward independence that needed to be crushed whenever it appeared. The galactic hegemony had maintained order across 12,000 worlds for 9 centuries. They would not lose their grip now. "Sir," called Lieutenant Kraz, hunched over the sensor station. "We're detecting an anomaly in high orbit around Meridian." "Defenses?" Terek asked sharply. "No, sir, not any defense system we recognize. It's—" Kraz paused, 6 eyes blinking in confusion. "It appears to be a structure of some kind. Black, absorbing all light directed at it. Roughly cylindrical, about 9 kilometers in length." Terek felt a flutter of unease. "Show me." The view screen shifted, zooming toward Meridian's orbit. At first, Terek saw nothing but stars. Then he realized that was precisely the problem. There was a section of space where stars should be visible, but weren't. A perfect darkness, a void cut into reality itself. "Scans," he demanded. "Inconclusive, sir. Our sensors, they seem to slide off it, like it's not fully present in our dimension." "Nonsense," Terek snapped. "Deploy recon drones. Full spectrum analysis." Within minutes, 5 drones approached the mysterious object. As they closed within 10,000 kilometers, all 5 simultaneously lost power. Their signals blinked out as if someone had thrown a switch. "Interference field," suggested Commander Liss, the tactical officer. "Sophisticated. Should we prepare the EMP countermeasures?" Terek considered his options. The object hadn't moved or shown any aggressive intent, yet its mere presence unsettled him deeply. The hegemony catalog contained records of every known ship design, defense platform, and space installation across charted space. This matched nothing. "Approach with caution. All weapons ready but dormant." The Dreadful Light moved forward, leaving the formation of 20 warships. As they closed to 500,000 kilometers, Terek felt something no seasoned hegemony admiral should ever feel: primitive fear. "Sir," Kraz called, voice unnaturally high. "It's moving." The black cylinder had begun to rotate, slowly at first, then with gathering speed. Not like a ship maneuvering, no engine flares, no gravitic distortion. It moved like something swimming through water. "Full stop," Terek ordered. Too late. The object accelerated, crossing the void between them with impossible grace. It passed silently through the forward screen of light cruisers, and where it passed, ships died. Not exploded, not damaged. They simply went dark, all systems failing simultaneously. Crew comms cut to silence. No distress calls, no emergency protocols. "Evasive action," Terek shouted. "All ships, scatter formation." The fleet broke apart, each vessel charting its own escape vector. The dark cylinder moved among them, like a predator choosing prey, touching one ship after another. Each contact lasted barely a second before the ship fell silent and drifted, lifeless. "Sir," Liss whispered, "it's selecting targets, the most heavily armed ships first." Terek watched in horror as the Vengeful Dawn, their newest dreadnought, approached the object with weapons blazing. Energy beams and projectiles alike vanished into the perfect darkness without effect. Then the cylinder brushed against the dreadnought's hull, and every light aboard the massive warship extinguished at once. "Full retreat," Terek commanded. "All remaining vessels, emergency jump protocols." As the Dreadful Light turned to flee, Terek caught a final glimpse of the mysterious object. It had stopped pursuing them, instead returning to its original position above Meridian. almost as if protecting it. 3 days later, Captain Ilara Chen stood in Meridian's orbital command center, studying holographic replays of the encounter. The Hegemony fleet's retreat had been chaotic and total. 12 ships lost, the rest fleeing with damaged systems and terrified crews. And we're sure it's not one of ours. Governor Miles asked for perhaps the 10th time. Positive, Chen replied patiently. Earth Defense Force has nothing remotely like this. Neither do any of the colonial militias. Chen was a compact woman with close-cropped black hair and eyes that missed nothing. EDF intelligence had dispatched her the moment reports reached Earth. Something had driven off a Hegemony punitive expedition, something unknown that now orbited their most vulnerable colony. It's been completely passive since the Hegemony left, reported Technician Rodriguez, bringing up new scans. Just waiting. Chen studied the readings. The object absorbed all electromagnetic radiation directed at it. No heat signature, no energy emissions. According to every instrument, it shouldn't exist. What if it's not from around here? She asked quietly. Extragalactic. Miles looked skeptical. The Hegemony has been dominant for nearly a millennium. If there were other spacefaring civilizations out there, they'd have made contact by now. Not necessarily, Chen countered. We've only explored a tiny fraction of our own galaxy, let alone others. Or, she hesitated, what if it's been here all along? Dormant, waiting. For what? For us, maybe. Chen called up historical records. There have been rumors for centuries about ancient civilizations that predate the Hegemony. The progenitors, some call them. Advanced societies that vanished millions of years ago, leaving only fragments behind. Miles scoffed. Legends, archaeological fairy tales. Maybe, Chen admitted. But something drove off those warships, something that appeared precisely when we needed it most. A junior officer burst into the room. Captain, the object, it's responding. Chen rushed to the main observation window. The cylindrical darkness had begun to pulse, subtle waves of not quite light rippling across its surface. Responding to what? She demanded. Our communications attempts, the officer explained. We've been broadcasting standard greeting protocols for days with no response. But when we switched to simple mathematical sequences, he gestured at the pulsing darkness. Chen felt her heart race. It's intelligent, possibly artificial. A weapon? Miles asked nervously. Or a sentinel? Chen countered. It only attacked when the Hegemony approached with hostile intent. It's been passive around our own ships and satellites. Rodriguez spoke up from his console. There's something else. The pulses. They're not random. They're following a pattern. A sequence that builds on the mathematics we sent. It's communicating, Chen breathed. Can we interpret it? Working on it. The mathematics are complex, beyond our current understanding. But there's something familiar about the underlying structure. A second officer approached, handing Chen a data tablet. Captain, we've been going through historical records. There have been other sightings of objects like this one, dating back centuries, always near human settlements threatened by outside forces. Each time, the objects appeared, intervened, then vanished. Chen felt a chill run down her spine. It's been watching us. Protecting us, maybe. But why? Miles demanded. What are we to it? Before Chen could answer, the lights flickered. Every screen in the command center went blank, then came alive with the same image. A double helix DNA strand, rotating slowly. Human DNA, Rodriguez whispered. It's showing us. Ourselves. The DNA strand began to change, segments lighting up, rearranging. Beside it appeared another strand, alien but with unmistakable similarities. It's comparing, Chen realized. Showing a relationship. The display shifted again, showing star maps, ancient stellar configurations dating back millions of years. Then human migration patterns from Earth outward. Finally, a pulsing light marking Meridian itself. I think, Chen said slowly, "It's telling us we're connected. To it, to whatever created it." She stepped closer to the window, staring at the dark cylinder. "And I think it's been waiting a very long time for us to notice." The hegemony didn't stay away for long. 2 weeks after the first encounter, sensors detected a massive fleet approaching, not dozens of ships but hundreds, gathered from across their territory. Warships, carriers, even planet crackers designed to shatter worlds. "They're terrified," Chen observed from Meridian's command center. "They don't understand what they're facing, so they've brought everything." Governor Miles paced nervously. "Will it be enough to protect us? There are so many of them." "I don't know," Chen admitted, "but I don't think numerical advantage matters here." Over the past 2 weeks, the mysterious object, now nicknamed Sentinel by Meridian's citizens, had maintained its orbit. Chen's team had established rudimentary communication, exchanging mathematical concepts and basic scientific principles. The Sentinel learned human languages with frightening speed, though its responses remained cryptic and symbolic. "Captain," Rodriguez called. "Incoming transmission from the Hegemony fleet." Admiral Tarek's face appeared on the main screen, mandibles tight with controlled fury. "Human settlement of Meridian. You have deployed an illegal superweapon against Hegemony forces. Surrender this weapon immediately or face planetary extinction." Chen stepped forward. "Admiral Tarek, the object in orbit is not our creation, nor is it under our control. We advise you to withdraw your forces immediately." "Deception will not save you," Tarek hissed. "The hegemony has ruled the stars since before your species left its homeworld. No primitive trick will change that." The transmission cut off. Moments later, the hegemony fleet began to advance. "They're deploying in attack formation," Rodriguez reported, multiple targeting systems activating. Chen watched the tactical display with growing unease. The Sentinel remained motionless in orbit, seemingly indifferent to the approaching armada. "Why isn't it doing anything?" Miles whispered. Chen had no answer. The first wave of hegemony ships launched missiles, hundreds of them, streaking toward both the Sentinel and Meridian itself. "Planetary shields at maximum," Rodriguez called. "But they won't hold against this much firepower." Chen held her breath as the missiles closed in, then gasped as every projectile suddenly froze in space, hanging motionless as if trapped in invisible amber. The Sentinel began to move. Unlike before, it didn't drift gracefully between targets. This time, it accelerated to impossible speed, becoming a blur of darkness that swept through the hegemony formation. Ships didn't merely go dark, they disappeared entirely, vanishing as the Sentinel passed near them. "What's happening to them?" Miles demanded. "I don't know," Chen admitted, "but the Sentinel is clearly capable of more than we realized." On the tactical display, hegemony ships blinked out by the dozen. Not destroyed. There was no debris, no explosion. They simply ceased to exist in normal space. The massive fleet, the greatest gathering of hegemony might in centuries, was being systematically erased. Admiral Tarek's voice crackled through the comm, no longer controlled but frantic. "What have you unleashed? What are you people?" Before Chen could respond, the Sentinel appeared directly before the hegemony flagship. For a moment, it hovered there, a perfect darkness against the stars. Then it began to change shape, unfolding like a flower blooming in reverse, revealing a core of swirling, impossible light. Every screen in the command center filled with the same message, repeated in 100 languages. The Chijel Avretubarnet, the Cycleqontinews, the voice of stars. The message hung on every display for several heartbeats before dissolving into streams of complex data, star charts, mathematical equations, genetic sequences. Captain Ilara Chen watched in stunned silence as decades of scientific advancement flashed before her eyes. "Record everything," she ordered. "Every byte of data." Outside, the Sentinel had resumed its cylindrical form after delivering its cryptic message. The remaining hegemony ships were in full retreat, fleeing so rapidly that several collision warnings flashed across Meridian's defensive screens. "The hegemony is broadcasting on all frequencies," Rodriguez reported. They're declaring Meridian off-limits. Forbidden territory." Governor Miles let out a disbelieving laugh. "They're afraid of us now." "Not us," Chen corrected. "They're afraid of what protects us." She studied the scrolling data with growing astonishment. "This isn't random information. It's instructions, schematics, history." The data showed ancient star maps, gravitational mechanics beyond current understanding, and biological templates that made Earth's leading geneticists look like children playing with building blocks. But most intriguing were the historical records, fragmentary but clear enough to tell a story that rewrote human understanding of their place in the cosmos. "The progenitors," Chen whispered. "They were real. According to the data, millions of years ago, an advanced civilization had seeded numerous worlds with the building blocks of intelligent life. Earth had been one such world. The progenitors had created the Sentinels, autonomous guardians programmed to watch over their children until they reached a certain level of development." "They created us?" Miles asked, horrified. "No," Chen replied. "They just gave evolution a nudge in the right direction. The rest, our society, our choices, our development, that was all us." She pointed to a genetic sequence displaying highlighted segments. "But they left markers in our DNA, recognition patterns so the Sentinels would know us when we finally reached the stars." Rodriguez interrupted. "Captain, the Sentinel is transmitting again. It's requesting contact." Chen felt a chill run through her. "What kind of contact?" "Direct interface. It wants someone to board it." The room fell silent. Boarding the mysterious object seemed impossibly dangerous, yet potentially the greatest opportunity in human history. "I'll go," Chen said finally. "Captain." "No," Miles protested. "We have no idea what it might do to you." "It's protected us twice now," Chen pointed out. "And it's specifically requesting contact. This could be why I was sent here." Within hours, a small shuttle carried Chen toward the waiting Sentinel. As she approached, a section of the perfect darkness opened like an iris, revealing a corridor of softly glowing material. "Here goes nothing," she muttered, guiding the shuttle inside. The interior defied conventional physics. Spaces seemed larger than they should be, corridors bent in ways that shouldn't be possible. Gravity shifted subtly as Chen moved deeper into the structure. The walls themselves pulsed with faint light, not electrical or mechanical, but almost biological. Finally, she reached what appeared to be a central chamber. The room was spherical, its walls displaying moving images of stars, planets, and civilizations she couldn't recognize. At the center floated a pulsing object, neither fully solid nor entirely energy. "Hello," Chen said simply. The floating object expanded, tendrils of light reaching toward her. Chen forced herself to remain still as they brushed against her face, her hands, her temples. "Hello, child of Earth." The voice wasn't spoken but felt, resonating directly in her mind. "You can understand me," Chen observed. "We have watched your kind for eons, waiting, hoping you would survive your own nature. What are you?" "I am Guardian, Watcher, Memory, the last gift of those who came before." The chamber around her shifted, showing Earth as it was millions of years ago. Then other worlds, dozens, hundreds, all seeded with different forms of primitive life. The creators spread potential widely, knowing most would fail. They themselves were dying, their cycle complete, but they hoped some children would rise to inherit what they built. "The progenitors," Chen whispered. "Yes, they left us to watch, to protect when needed, to guide when the time came." "And the hegemony." The chamber darkened, images showing the rise of the insectoid civilization, aggressive, expansionist, but ultimately limited in their thinking. They were not chosen. They found abandoned technology, used it, never understood it. They are caretakers at best, Pretenders at worst. But why reveal yourself now? Humans have been in space for centuries. The hegemony has ruled us for nearly as long. The threshold was reached. Your kind has faced extinction many times, by your own hand and others. Yet you persist. Adapt. Create. The final test approached, either extinction under the hegemony or emergence as inheritors. Chen struggled to comprehend the implications. You're saying we've passed some cosmic test. That we're ready for. What exactly? To receive the inheritance. The chamber erupted with information, flowing directly into Chen's mind. Star maps of uncharted regions, locations of other sentinels, principles of physics that unified theories humans had struggled with for generations, and something more, the locations of ancient progenitor installations scattered throughout the galaxy, filled with technology beyond imagination. This would change everything, Chen gasped. The balance of power, our understanding of the universe. That is the intention. What happens now? I have awakened my siblings. The children of Earth are now recognized. The oppressors will be contained until they evolve beyond their limitations. Chen suddenly understood the fate of the vanished hegemony ships. You didn't destroy them. No, they exist in suspension, learning. When they understand, they will return. And humanity, what do you expect from us? Growth, exploration. To avoid the mistakes of those who came before. The universe is vast, and you are still young. The tendrils of light withdrew from Chen's mind, leaving her gasping with the effort of containing so much new knowledge. Return to your people. Tell them what begins. 6 months later, the galaxy was transformed. The hegemony had collapsed into squabbling factions, their authority shattered by the revelation that their technology and power had never truly been theirs. Human expeditions, guided by the knowledge Chen had brought back, discovered ancient installations on distant worlds. Each yielded new insights, new technologies, new understanding. Chen herself stood on the bridge of the inheritance, humanity's first ship built with progenitor principles. It traveled not by conventional means but by folding space itself, making journeys of thousands of light years in moments. Ready for the next jump, Captain? Asked her first officer. Chen nodded, looking at the star map displaying their ultimate destination, a massive structure at the galaxy's core that the Sentinel had identified as the progenitor's final legacy. The Sentinel said, "We're still young," Chen mused, "that we have much to learn." Frightening thought, her officer replied, "Given what we've already discovered." Chen smiled. Frightening, yes, but also wonderful. She gestured to the view screen, where dozens of sentinels now accompanied their ship, a fleet of ancient guardians awakened to escort humanity on its greatest journey. "We weren't abandoned in the cosmos after all," she said. "We were planted, cultivated, protected until we could stand on our own." She took a deep breath. And now it's our turn to grow. The inheritance vanished into folded space, carrying humanity toward its cosmic birthright. Not as conquerors like the hegemony, but as inheritors of a legacy millions of years in the making. Behind them, Earth and its colonies flourished, free from oppression for the first time in centuries. And in orbit around Meridian, the first sentinel remained, a silent guardian watching over the world where everything had changed. The Chichel Drarien, AVRETURNED. The CIKLE, Coentinuis.